Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Scarlets Fever podcast. Joining me, Big M, as always, Catboy and Carwyn. How are we doing, boys?
Evening.
Good evening. We're a bit delicate tonight after my sister's wedding over the weekend. Nicest day of the year. They got married, so yeah, made for a great weekend. So I'm not at my spruciest. I don't know if that's even a word, but we'll go with that.
Well, after the event in Cardiff, you've got to use spruce somewhere, haven't you?
Nice.
What
Oh,
about
was
you,
the
Evan?
was the boss in Cardiff, was he?
Yeah.
Very good. I was off to Gloucester again. I managed to get myself another free ticket to a European knockout game. Um, so I was taking in Gloucester versus Benetton. I was cheering for Benetton. Unfortunately, obviously didn't get the results, but I had an absolutely class day. Like you said, the weather was great. Gloucester's great, and I met up with the guys and girls from the Spritz and Scrum podcast, Italian rugby podcast, and I was sat with them in the grounds and chatting to them and went for a drink with them after. And yeah, I had an absolute brilliant day. Fair play.
So basically, every time you go to Kingsholm, Gloucester win.
2 out of 2, 2 out of 2.
I think they want to get you in there every day, but
Yeah.
I've had a bit of a boring week, but I get to go on holidays in 2 days' time. Yay!
Hey, where
Off
you
to
going again?
Turkey,
Where you going?
off to Turkey, but
Turkey. You getting your teeth done while you're there?
I should do because they are absolutely disgusting. I don't think they've been anything even close to white for a good 10 years. So let's just kick on. Is not a great deal to chat about this week, so let's look at what we've got to share in the community game. So I'm trying to share this. Can we all see?
Yes.
It's loaded. There we are. Yes, yeah.
Well, hey. So first up, we had the Premiership playoff semi-finals. Llandovery against Cardiff. Did either of you catch the game?
No, was out. I've
I've
seen Max
recorded it,
Phases
but I haven't
try.
watched it yet. Yeah.
Well, you've missed a treat because, honest to God, it was a great game to watch, and it really typified, proper knockout rugby. Llandovery just came out of the blocks firing. Everything they were doing was fast. It was fluid. The Cardiff defence was just so solid in that first half. They just couldn't break through. I think Cardiff went into the half 10-6 up, and there was just barrage after barrage on Llandovery. And about 50, 55 minutes, the doors cracked, and we just started running in tries, finished 34-13. So, and there was an absolute worldie from Max Page. And if anyone doesn't know, this boy is an academy player of ours. Normally plays 13, but he was out on the wing. He picked up 2 tries himself. We had 2 other boys in the squad in the 23, on the bench, I have to say. Harry Thomas and Kian Abram. Abram came on and scored a try as well, so that really kick-started things. So on to the final now, and they're up against Newport. So Newport won 48-13 in their Gwent Derby semi-final against Ebbw Vale. So what are we thinking? Newport have really kicked up a storm now this whole season, really. I think they've only lost 1 game less than the Rovers.
Yeah, Newport, hell of a team. Having watched them a few times, they love to score tries. They love to do the razzle dazzle, and they did a job on Drovers a few weeks back, didn't they? In the rain, we thought that Drovers were going to do a job on them based on the scrum dominance that they had, but Newport managed to get some breakaway tries. I think it was only 3 tries. It was quite low scoring for a Welsh Prem game at this time of year. But of course, Drovers won the return fixture earlier in the season, though. So
yeah, well, that game a few weeks ago finished 24-6 to Newport. And, we've been following Llandovery all season, so obviously we expected, a win, if not a big win. But I was looking at the squad afterwards, and there was a really young squad for Llandovery. They give a debut to a boy, Sam Potter. Yeah, he's been playing for Ammanford all season at 10, and they had him on the bench. So I don't think they exactly targeted the game as one to really dig in. I think it was more of a case of you know what, we're probably going to end up playing you again at some point in the playoffs. Let's maybe ease off. I mean, I know teams don't generally admit to doing things like that, and I'm probably reaching a little bit, wanting Drovers to be fully fledged and coming out on top. But yeah, I still got
Only finished top by a point, so it was risky if that was the plan.
Yeah, well, they didn't need that final bonus point. They had the wins in the bag if they needed it. But at the same time, Llandovery done it down Cardiff away last season, and I know this Newport side isn't Cardiff, but I believe that the Drovers can really fancy themselves. They can say wherever they go, they will say, yeah, we can do this. And to be fair, they could probably rock up at one of the regions and think, yeah, we can have it, and definitely us. I'll say that for as much.
I just think that Bancareglos have just been as a fortress. I fancy them at home. I will say though, I don't really agree with the playoffs. I think if you top after 24 games, then you've won the league. The fact that they was it 26 and 25 points, Llandovery and Newport were ahead of their semi-final opponents, as in there is some poetic justice that it's the top two teams in the final. And I know Llandovery benefited obviously last season from the playoffs, but I think if you're that far ahead, what does 2 extra games prove? I will do a shameless plug here. We had Gareth Potter from Llandovery coaching setup on a Pod Rugby Cymru last Thursday, and they were taking the game serious. They weren't taking the league position, the league points difference between them and Cardiff for granted, and they knew that Cardiff were coming down all guns blazing. And yeah, from the bits I've seen and read, it looked like it was a real corker until sort of the last 60, where and even maybe a bit later than that, when they just found that extra gear and obviously booked their place in the final and keep the treble alive, which is I was talking to somebody on Friday, and the treble's only been done once before. Obviously, not every year's had playoffs and stuff, but Pontypridd did it apparently back in the early. I think it was the early noughties, he said. Some history in the making.
What was the treble back then? Because this is
so it's the same. The cup finishing top and then winning the playoffs.
I can't remember when the playoffs started in the Premiership, but surely it wasn't that long ago, was it?
But did they have playoffs, then stopped them and thought, oh, I know what, let's spice it up at the end of the season again and bring the playoffs back? I'm not sure, because I was curious if it had been done before, because obviously, yeah, as you say, the playoffs don't seem to have been around that long. But
I'm not 100%. It's one to do a little dive into, maybe come up when we celebrate the one true treble next week.
Yeah.
So carry on.
I just wanted to talk about Max Page a bit, because he scored a really good try against Bridgend, although it was like joke tackling from Bridgend, but he just absolutely smashed through them as well. He's looked good in several Drovers games now, and obviously he looked good for Wales under-20s. And I think when we had Scott Snedden on and we asked him who's the next academy player to play for the Scarlets, I think he said Max Page is one of the contenders. We're struggling for depth in the back three at the moment, but he can cover the whole back line. He made headlines in the under-26 nations playing at 12, I believe. How long do you think is between Max Page and his Scarlets debut?
I think we can probably expect to see him have his Scarlets debut at some point next season. I probably think he'd start out on the wing for us.
Yeah.
Just because he's a 13. He's been playing at 13 for a good while now, age grade, and that's where he's come through as. And there's still a lot of finishing touches to go in there, as it would be with any other 19-year-old, 13 in the world. It's just defensive reads, just setting his space up, getting that distance right between your winger and your outside centre. It is vital in defence, as if you've ever played there, you've ever watched, specifically that area, how hard it is to defend there and to make the right calls effectively and consistently. And another one in attack, which is why he's probably better suited to the wing at the minute, is when he's facing that final defender and maybe he's got a man outside him or whatever. His decision making is just not 100% all the time. It's like he's been much improved this season, but from watching him back when he was in the under-18s, which was last season, he would come up against the final defender, and instead of popping, an easy 2-on-1 pass, he'd take him on and he'd botch it essentially. And just not saying he's a bad player, just a little bit of decision making that will come with experience. And like I've already said, I haven't seen half as much this season with the Drovers, so I do believe that's improved, and it probably won't be long until Page does actually start fighting for that 13 shirt. But I think it's going to be predominantly wing next season. He does cover fullback as well, but I haven't seen enough of him there. I think I've only watched 1 or 2 games with him at fullback, so I can't really gauge on that because, let's be honest, we're really missing a fullback at the minute and no one's sticking their hand up.
But personally, I'd try him pre-season, see how he goes, and if he's not quite ready, keep him at the Drovers, as in, I'd rather see him play week in, week out and develop those last little bits that you were talking about there in attack and what have you. And then when he is ready, bring him back. There's no point him being in an extended Scarlet squad, playing 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Just let him play every week, develop, bulk up, whatever he needs to do. Keep his match practice, match fitness up, and then try him again in a few months. I just think having him sort of holding tackle bags does nothing for his long-term game. And the likelihood then is that he'll get fed up and look elsewhere. Where at least if he's playing week in, week out and not on the coach's radar, there's something for him to fight for.
Well, that's exactly what has happened with another Scarlet. He did have a bad injury, but you probably wouldn't know the name, Callum Williams. I don't think he's ever made a competitive start for us, but he's been in our squad for about 4 or 5 years. And we don't see him with the Drovers, we don't see him with the Quins, and we don't see him with the Scarlets. And quite frankly, if his contract is up now at this season, I'm very much expecting him to say bye-bye because he's always in the barn. He's either signing in the shop or he's in the barn doing stuff, but he's never in the match day 23. And I don't even think he was in the squad for the Exeter game. So it is one of those things where you've really got to handle these players well. And I think the purpose of the EDC and the way it's going to be structured next season is going to lend to that. So where we've seen on the odd few times this year, Archie Hughes, who is our third choice scrum half, him dropping down playing for the Quins, I think we're going to see a lot more of that with our third choice, or if you're back row, maybe 6th or 7th choice. We're going to be seeing them play a lot more in the EDC just to keep that match fitness up and keep it going.
It's a bit annoying, really, that it's at the end of the season that I suppose you would expect it to come good over the course of a season, but really it feels like now between Archie, Charlie, and now Max Page, we've got these senior academy boys, although I don't think Max is senior academy yet.
Yeah, everything over 18 is senior.
Okay, so these boys actually starting to fire now towards maybe it's a bit of improved weather because they are all backs after all, but you just makes you wish the season was about 6 weeks longer, doesn't it?
Or that we play in the summer.
Yeah, I'm a massive advocate for summer rugby. I'm actually a big advocate for moving the Six Nations as well, but people don't like it when I say that. So if we'll carry on with the rest of the community game, Championship West is done and finished. Into One West, we had 2 midweek games. Wellinville went down 1935 at home to Gowerton. Clefley Wanderers 145-7 at home to Pencloud. On to the weekend, and Gowerton beat Bury Port 63-15 at home. Aberystwyth travelled to One Eyelid and played out a 28-all cracker. And then Hendy rounded off the weekend's action for them with a 29-36 loss at home to Casainan. Just the 1 game left in this division for us now, and that's Clefley Wanderers against Gowerton. They are playing on Wednesday night. Down into 2 West, and Army United are continuing their absolute menace of an end of season. They played midweek, losing 24-0 at home to Croix. They went down 41-23 away against Mumbles on Saturday. Tomorrow night, now Tuesday night, they are travelling to Milford, and then Saturday they're travelling to Fishguard. I think it works out something like 10 or 11 games in 4 weeks. It's unbelievable what they've had to do to, really finish off the season. We go into 3 West A now, and with these 2 results, well, the first one done it, midweek, Neyland won 17-8 at home to Halford West, meaning Larne are champions and being promoted. Larne then rounded off their season on Saturday with a 52-21 win away at Pembroke Dock Harlequins. Down into 3 West B, 2 midweek games. Gwendryth derby for the ages. Tumble hosting Kevin Nathan. Kevin Nathan were 25-0 up at half-time. And Tumble came back to 21-25 and just ran out of time. It was an epic game by all accounts. And I really wish I was there because it sounded awesome from everything I've seen and read. The other midweek game, Trimsaran travelled to Llandovery, winning 28-17. On to Saturday, Llandailo won 29-20 at home to Llangadog. And Hughes' beloved New Dock Stars lost 16-41 at home to Kevin Nathan.
This season's really gone off the rails at the end.
Well, the thing is, the way that the season's being restructured now, 3 West A and 3 West B are joining forces. So that means a lot of teams are getting relegated. And with this loss, New Dock Stars are being relegated. So I'm very sorry, Hugh. But you can proudly cheer on for Division 4 champions next season. How does that sound?
Well, I'm just gutted.
So a couple of games left now. We got Betos at home to Llandailo on Tuesday night. On to Saturday, Kevin Nathan at home to Betos and Binia travel to Llandailo. Division 5 West Central, Banwen won 15-18 at home to Pontiates, and Penybang travelled to Penlan and went down by 60 points to 8. Pantavannan travelling to Seven Sisters was postponed. I didn't mean to check up on what the reason. Maybe pitch, maybe Pantavannan not raising aside. They haven't won a game all season. I think this must be the last game. I'm not 100% sure there. If someone wants to have a look while we're doing this, awesome. If not, I'm not worried. Games for this week. Wednesday night, we got Pontiates at home to Cumgrach, and then Penybang host Cumgrach on Saturday. So we promised to have a little look at this. So I'm going to scroll down and see if you all can see it. Can you see my little bits for there?
Yeah. So this is the restructuring, is it?
This is who's going up and down in just for us, just to have a look. Can we see it all?
Yeah.
Oh, can't. Okay. So we know Llandovery and Carmarthen Quins are moving from the Premiership up to the EDC. Championship West, Narberth, Llangennech and Newcastle Emlyn are all getting promoted to the new style Premiership. Bonamine and Brecon are joining them, but we're not too bothered by them.
It'll be interesting to watch the Prem next season with all these teams in it, because you'd say on merit that there's teams in there that, I'm not just talking about our teams, by the way, there's teams in there that didn't, aren't at the level to play in the Premiership. They've gone up because of the restructure. So I think is it Ponty and Merthyr will probably be the favourites for the Prem next season.
Yeah, Pontypridd, Merthyr and Neath will most likely be the top dogs. Narberth and Brecon really did have a stranglehold on this league, and obviously Bargoed, who won the cup and really dominated the league as well. One team I'm not really surprised that they went up, but they normally a Midland team, Cardiff Met. They've come up from Championship East and they've done really, really well. Like they led the table for so long, but that was by virtue of basically almost playing all the games on the weekend they were meant to, which is unheard of. So we drop going up to Championship West for next season. Fletchley Wanderers, winners of 1 West. Joining them will be Gowerton and Gosainan. Whitland have been relegated, so they will be dropping down out of 1 West into 2 West. Current 2 West champions, St. Clair's and second place Tenby will be moving up to 1 West. This is also confusing, saying these bloody league names all the time. A little bit further east, Bryn Aman, who play in 1 West Central, they have finished bottom. So they are dropping down the league, whether that is into 2 West Central or if we can manage to get into the 2 West. We're just not 100% sure on that. Into 2 West now, the teams getting relegated down are to Croyce, Pontyberem and Avon United, so they'll go into the new 3 West. Coming up from 3 West A is Larne, and from 3 West B is Betos. And now this is the fun one. Because of this merger now, we've got lots of teams from 3 West A and lots of teams from 3 West B all dropping down the division, and we don't know what division they're going into. We don't know if they're going into A or B. It's probably going to be very similar to the way 3 West AB is set up. One Pembrokeshire, Ceredigion, one more east of Dyfed. But until we know which seconds teams are being entered, it's really impossible to tell. So dropping from 3 West A are Neyland, St David's, Pembroke. Christ, that's a fallen half for Pembroke. Pembroke Dock Quins, Langham and Llandovery. From 3 West B, New Dock Stars, Trimsaran, Furness, Llandovery, Binya and Tregaron. There's also Penygroes, who dropped out of the leagues earlier in the season, and whether or not they will be rejoining. Hopefully they are, and if they do, it will be down at the bottom in 4 West. But other than that, that's your whole lineup that really matters and who's going up and down for the next season. Once we get confirmation of who's going where, if we're still running, it probably won't happen until mid-August, knowing the WIU, we'll let everyone know. So that was fun, boys. How are you all feeling?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? The new setup and teams moving here, there, and everywhere. I think the 4 West will be interesting what they do with that. Hopefully, as you say, they based it on geography, just to make it sort of fair to those teams. Because I'm just thinking off the top of my head now, you potentially got St David's having to travel to. Would Binya be the most eastern of the teams?
I'd have to double check, but yeah, Binya is right by Lacha, so it's literally on the pass.
That's quite a trek for both teams for the away trip. But if you got 5, for instance, I think 5 teams from 4 West, 3 West A, we're going are moving to 4 West. Well, it's a lot of traveling down west for Binya then if they've got 5 trips to Pembrokeshire, and obviously a lot of these clubs are surviving, well, just surviving. So hopefully they see a bit of logic and categorize teams according to location as opposed to lucky dip.
Yeah, well, it's going to be one to watch because we don't know how many seconds teams are actually going to be applying to go in, because below the Premiership and the Championship, which are both at 13 teams, everyone else is now a 10-team league, and so we've got 12 teams going down already, so we know there's 12, so essentially there's 8 spots left. I would imagine of the 50 odd teams, in the Scarlets branch, within Dyfed, there's going to be more than 8 seconds teams that are probably going to think, you know what, I want to crack at the league. You've got Newcastle Emlyn who run 3 sides. There's plenty of teams, and there is a thriving seconds division in Carmarthenshire. You've got the Castle Howell leagues, which they run all season, and when the boys don't have games, they arrange friendlies and they do fulfill all these fixtures, which it's great for the game. Let's just see how it unfolds. It's going to be mental. We might end up with a 5 West A and B now. Who knows? So that is all the community game. We've got no club news, nothing like that. No game to review, but we do have one to preview. So Saturday, the 11th, 3:15 kickoff, URC Kids Round, Scarlets at home to Ulster. Carwyn, what are your thoughts, Matt?
Well, I would usually be doom and gloom after the Sharks game, so I thought it was one we should have won, or sort of I thought we were going to win. But then having seen the Sharks beat Clermont on the weekend, I might have been a bit harsh on us. So I don't know, yeah. I want to be optimistic. It's the end of the season. Hopefully it's good weather again for the boys to show what they can do. But it's just been one of those seasons where nothing's gone right for us, and we've lost heavily. Where some other teams in the league things haven't gone right for them. Cardiff, for instance, things haven't gone well for Cardiff, but they've picked up 6 or 7 more bonus points than us. So there's a bit of fight there. We've either won a game or been battered. It doesn't feel like there's any middle ground. And Ulster probably haven't lived up to their expectations, but they'll probably come to us and absolutely destroy us by 40 points. So
Shall we leave the doom and gloom alone?
yeah, I really want to say we're going to win, but I don't think we're going to.
Okay. Hugh, I'm really sorry, but I should have started with you.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries. So yeah, it's difficult to know with Ulster because they've gone through the changing coach and they spent most of the season between a rock and a hard place. And I remember I watched them against the Ospreys and they were absolutely dreadful in that game. It was one of those where it's like, don't let the backs touch the ball because they're just going to mess it up. Just like maul it all day, don't do anything else. They do actually offload quite a lot, but I was just looking at their stats by there and they're so middling in everything. They're just like middle of the road, middle of the road, middle of the road. I don't think they really had an identity, but like I said, that's based on a season's worth of stats where they had a different coach and it wasn't a happy camp, etc. So that's kind of all changed now. They've got a bit of a fresh outlook on life. And the thing is with the way the URC is at the moment is they're not going to be putting out a seconds team because everyone has to win every game from first down to 11th in the league. So, it's just difficult to, I think we just got to focus on ourselves really, because I don't think you can prepare much for Ulster. They've got a big couple of games coming up into pros at this end of the season, but I think honestly, you just got to focus on us. So I don't know, from a Scarlets selection point of view, we're just hoping for as close to the Sharks lineup as possible, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, you could probably say a little bit about the same about us in terms of the way the camp has been feeling. I personally think that in the last few weeks, especially since Benetton, there's been an upturn in morale, especially if the boys look happier on the field. So I don't know if that's down to Jared taking over defence. But that's another interesting one because obviously he's been linked now to the vacant Ulster head coach position.
I believe that's done and dusted. There is someone else. It's a guy called Lou Decker who's currently coaching in Japan. He's supposedly all signed up.
Oh, well, who knows? Maybe he wants another defence coach. Maybe. Well, either way, you kind of ruined me with him, but I'm really disappointed with him now.
That's just, he's just.
I had something going. But no, the boys look happier. Even in defeat, they look a bit happier as those performances. They're there. They're not quite 100%, but we're in games, and we've actually won quite recently, which always helps. Selection wise, yeah, I think it's only maybe Alex Craig to come back in. You don't want too much tinkering. Alex Craig comes straight back in, so we remove that. I wouldn't want more than 1 or 2 changes, and that's probably going to be on the bench. Like we've spoken about, we're probably going to want a 6-2 split, just because we know Costello is so vital to us, and he's going to be playing the 80 unless injured. Why have a 10 cover on the bench, like specific 10 cover? If we're looking at maybe trying Tom Rogers or Tommy Lewis at fullback, so we can have Johan Nicholas on the bench. I don't know the condition of Johan Lloyd, so obviously he would cover everywhere as well. But yeah, we're getting better. I mean, it's sad to say at the end of the season we're starting to peak, but it is what it is. We got 3 games left. 2 are definitely winnable, and I think we can give Ulster a good go. They're not in great nick themselves, and like you said, they got 2 games against Munster and Leinster, which if they don't beat us, will decide their season. So they've got to come fully loaded against us. This is probably their only chance at 4 or 5 points. And they're probably looking at us thinking that's a guaranteed 5-pointer. So I think we can probably, on the mental side of things, we can beat them. We can basically show up and go, yeah, we're not here for the taking. We're not the same team that play bloody Stormers or Bulls or whatever. Just run riot over us. We're here for a game with a team that, ran European finalists close a couple of weeks ago. I think that's the mindset we have to take into the game. What do we want to see from the game, though? Like, other than a win, obviously. Well, say we don't win. What would you be positive taking out of that match?
Honestly, a bit of fronting up from the forwards. I think, and with Alex Craig coming back in, I think that certainly helps. I see him as a sort of don't like to compare players, but he's sort of the Jake Paul. He's that dog workhorse, whatever you want to call him, in the engine room that just gives 110% while he's on the pitch. I think the backs we've got, given decent ball, they can cause damage. I just don't think we've had enough quality ball to go out wide. And I know we've got to earn the right to go wide, but at times it feels like we have. And then we've either run hard at centre, we've kicked it away. There's no point having exciting wingers who don't see the ball. And obviously, we might not have weather like we had the Saturday just gone. But if we do have a nice day again, as in Rodgers and Lewis, if they're the starting wingers, will be licking the lips at the opportunity of running at the Ulster defence from anywhere on the park, because the ground will be lovely, the crowd will be in good spirits. It's the perfect opportunity for champagne rugby. And as you say, it's almost a free shot. This is the game we don't expect to win, because Ulster need the 5 points or their season's over and they're probably out of the playoffs. So they're going to be up for it. They're probably going to be nervous because they know one mistake here and the last 2 weeks are worthless, because Leinster will probably be out for blood because they're currently sitting second behind Glasgow, and Munster want to keep the pressure on the top two. So it's all or nothing for them, and we've got nothing to lose but everything to gain. And I probably wouldn't change the fullbacks. I thought Nicholas, I know he averages a try every 5 years, so he's on a hot streak at the moment. So let's stick with him. But no, fronting up, and I don't know, give the fans something to cheer about. It's been a long, abysmal season. It's time that we started singing again.
Yeah, for me, I definitely, we've seen the improvements in the defense, in the attitude and the desire in the defense. I'd like to see more structure to the attack and more planning in the attack now, because Dwayne keeps saying he wants us to express ourselves and things, etc., and we want to play off the cuff, but I don't know what we look like on the cuff. I think I can count on one hand the number of set play moves that we've run that have resulted in tries this season. So I would like to see us have some structure to the attack and it not just be chucking it around on the wrong side of the halfway line. I would like to see some actual, I can join 3 movements up and go, oh, I can see what we were trying to do there. And, to be honest, we struggle to score tries. So if we could get a 4-try bonus point, that would be absolutely magic. Ulster do concede tries. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to see, is a bit of purpose and a bit of evidence of planning in the attack, really. If the defense is exactly how it was against the Sharks, then I'll be happy. It's the attack is now the thing that I want to start seeing, what we've been doing in camp for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same when it comes to the attack. Like, we saw one set play off the back of a scrum against the Sharks that was so close to coming off, but you get so many lineouts, so many scrums in a game. Try these first phase attacks. Phase play takes a long time to develop, and by rights we've had a long time to do it. But with the change in coach, blah blah blah, I'm not expecting that to develop massively. I would like to see a lot more first phase moves. I think that's the best time for us, because we've got these strike runners, we've got these pacey wingers. Let's try and use them. For me, just to be in the game at the 79th minute, that'd be lovely. Because that's something we've been missing massively. And picking up a losing bonus point, picking up 2 bonus points, or never know, maybe even pipping a win would it'd be nice, as it is the last game at the Parc for the season. And we are supposed to be getting our levers announced this week, and they will be presented at the end of the game. So it'd be nice to give these boys, a bit of a show to go off to. And on that front, so let's have some score predictions from you then, boys. Let's start with Hugh. He likes being very specific on his score lines.
I'm going to go 24-23 to the Scarlets. Scarlets by 1.
Karen, how are you doing, Bat? What do you think?
I'm optimistic, but not that optimistic either. I do think we'll get a tie bonus. I can see it being one of those 43-37 games, but unfortunately Ulster get the win.
And I will always go for a Scarlets, and even if I say we're going to lose during the entire podcast, 34-30 I think it's going to be a high scorer with a lot of tries, and we're going to pick up the win. We got to pick up the win. A nice try bonus point to finish the season, and something to focus on to move into next year. And we can round off the season with 3 wins. So wouldn't that be nice?
If we do that, we'll have as many wins as we had last season.
In the league,
In
the league.
season.
You got to include the cup, haven't you?
Hmm.
Okay, well, on that very depressing note, okay, Scarlet's going to win. On that note, it's great chatting, you boys. All the best for Ulster, and if I get some signal in Turkey, I might join you next week. I might not. Other than that, great having you. Try, boys.
Cheers.
Yes.